Let's get into it. Coach Colin news. Bill Gates is at it again. Kind of. He was just doing a regular interview. I don't think he knew this question was going to come up because the way that he answers, I mean, you want to assume Bill Gates maybe stages interviews, maybe he prepares them, maybe the interviewers have to tell all their questions. But the way he answers this kind of shows that he was not prepared for this interviewer to ask this question. I'm not sure what the interviewer's name is, but shout out to him for calling out Bill Gates as a hypocrite in regards to the whole climate change agenda, you know, the way that we are all the problem, what we choose to do when we get in our cars and we go about our lives, that all of that is just so terrible. But I've said it 100 times, we never talk about the billionaires. 26-minute flights on private jets. Elon Musk reportedly one time took a 6-minute flight on a jet. Taylor Swift has 2 jets. I think she sold one not because of climate change, but because somebody kept tracking it. Absolutely wild. We never talk about them and their footprints. And how about all of you guys stop what you're doing and let's see the impact it has then. You leave the regular people who are the lifeblood of this world alone a little bit. And you guys do your part. You know what I mean? Bill Gates takes a bicycle to the next climate change meeting, the next Bilderberg group meeting, whatever, what have you. But we don't have that conversation. Until now, just a little bit. Let's play this clip. I really don't think he knew that one was coming because this answer is terrible. Now, one thing, first off, it's just his whole answer. Like, should I go to Kenya and learn about malaria and all these things? And then he doesn't even answer the rhetorical question that he poses and just says, anyway. That's, man, it's something that really gets under my skin because all of these billionaires, all of these millionaires, and I got no problem with billionaires and millionaires, but I have a problem when they look at us for doing something on a very small scale and they do it on this massive scale. And their first solution is that all of us need to change. And it's fine because he puts in billions of dollars and this and that. But the thing he's not talking about is that helps him tremendously. He does that to his benefit. It's not the benefit of the world. The same way he invests in media. I don't know if you knew that. He invests a lot of money into the media. He invests money into, I believe, the Tide Center that's been seen funding all sorts of things in regards to pro-Palestine protests. He puts a lot of money in a lot of different farmland. You know, the medical industry, as everybody knows and figured out. So where he puts his money benefits him. So for him to say I spend billions and billions of dollars, it's like, yeah, because you're going along with this agenda, you're helping push this agenda, and then also you know that there's going to be industry that comes about. So you're putting money into it. So you know what's going to happen. You're going to make money. It's not like he's going to lose money on this, especially if the agenda gets to the point where they're trying to get it to, which is all of us having to purchase. And I'm glad he actually said it. I didn't think he'd actually bring it up. I don't think a lot of people know about these things, these offsets. Have you guys heard about these offsets that you can buy? There's a site called TerraPass.com. This is definitely not an ad. It's definitely the opposite. But when you look into it, it brings about an eerie world. And I've done a video about this before, and I'm going to be honest. In my mind, I connect this to a social credit system. That's exactly what I connect this to. As I see this whole thing, I connect this to central bank digital currencies. I connect this to all sorts of stuff. Now, TerraPass, what they do is they sell you these offsets, right? Their mission is to fight climate change. We adopt the highest standards in regards to their offsets, which you have to buy because of what a terrible person you are, driving your car and eating your steak and doing all these things that are just not that sustainable. It's very interesting stuff. Now, when you check this out, you can actually buy these offsets. Here, let me just walk you through it really quick. So look at this. Products for individuals, right? So you can view a product. So let's just view a product right now. Okay. So you can go here it starts from $7. That would be monthly. Now you can make a one-time purchase, $7.99 per 1,000 pounds. Now that's pounds of CO2e. You can sign up for monthly subscriptions. The thing about it is, the reason that I connected it to all the things I just brought up is because you slowly start to see, I don't know if you guys buy plane tickets, it's starting to come out in other mundane activities that we do, but they're starting to actually tell you how much carbon you're emitting taking your flight, or maybe with your meal, or maybe in what you're spending. Maybe it's a Amazon pack. Like, they're starting to really bring up how much carbon you are emitting. So I actually went here and I went through it all just to see. So I just put that I had a car. I said the car was an '03. I said the car goes about 60,000 miles a year. That was it. I gave them the make, the model. They have all this stuff. And then they're like, okay, so to offset your carbon, because you're just doing too much, you're driving around, going to work. You're going to work and feeding your family. This is just the car. They're like, well, you should buy this offset. That's $33 a month. Quantity, 1,000 pounds. So I would be offsetting my carbon by 4,407 pounds. Show how committed you are to clean air by offsetting a little each month. The support you give goes to ensure, it's basically like giving to a charity, because they're like, oh, it funds a project that plants trees or does this sustainable thing or does that sustainable thing. So it's this odd, I just want to throw out a term of like climate guilt. It's very weird. It's very, very weird stuff. And we're all being subjected to it. Like, look at this, right? Carbon footprint calculator. This is exactly what I did. I went down here. They tell you to select your vehicle. And right now, these are just weird sites that people don't know about. But I think eventually these might become a little more prevalent. It's very, very weird. You pick your car, right? If you have a gas car, terrible for you. You shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. I travel by train. You have to give all these specifications, and then they tell you how much you're going to pay in order to be a cleaner person, for lack of a better term. You're causing all this smog. You're going here, you're going there. You can't be doing all that. Oh, you're eating meat. Oh, gosh, that's even more. Jeez, what kind of envelopes do you use? You use envelopes? They're paper? Oh, my gosh. Even more. It's everything. It's everything. You read every night? How long do you read every night? Oh, that's a lot of electricity. Are you solar? Not even solar. Oh my gosh. It just goes up and up and up and up. I think those things are going to become more prevalent. He's talking about, I purchased the offsets and that makes it so I can take my jet everywhere. Here's the thing though. How many of us right now, out of nowhere, let's just say it's a world where it did become mandatory. How much could you actually afford to pay per month to do everything you have to do? You just saw, just for a car, $33 a month, right? A few $100 a year, just so you could drive your car. Not insurance, not car payment, just because your car is dirty. You're doing a dirty activity and you got to pay this much. What happens when your whole life's calculated for your carbon footprint, right? And all of a sudden, like, let's say you found out it was, I don't know, $3,000. Let's say you got a family. It's $5,000 or something like that. How many people can afford that out of nowhere? Not many. It would keep people, and let's say it got to the point where, okay, you didn't buy the offsets, so now you're just polluting, right? There has to be a penalty for that. Maybe you're not allowed to move as much. I don't know. Like, when I hear about these offsets, it just it sets off alarm bells. Especially because there's certain credit card companies that will tell you how much carbon. Definitely, if you go to Google Flights, they'll tell you how much carbon you're emitting. Definitely Uber. I think Uber Eats as well. They will tell you how much carbon you're saving if you go to an electric car. These things are popping up all over the place, all sorts of different apps. And it always makes me think of something that Klaus Schwab said. He was talking about the 5 pillars I called the video the 5 pillars of control, because that's basically what he was talking about. And he brought up business, and he's like we penetrate business because they control innovation. So and what he means by that is, when a business innovates something, it just brings something out, everybody just kind of has to do it. Like, do you remember, I don't have my phone here. You remember when, if you're old enough, you remember when phones just had buttons? And I remember just wanting a phone with buttons. And one day I just went in and they're like, there are none with buttons. And I was like, what do you mean? And the only one was like a flip phone. And I'm like, there's no keyboards anymore? They're like, no, it's just on the screen now. And I was like, I don't want that. Had no choice, right? I don't know, man. But it's just real funny that Bill Gates views himself as the solution when he's actually the person pushing this more and more. Now, obviously, the mindset is, well, if you don't push this, the planet is going to explode and everybody is going to pass away an untimely, could have been so avoidable type of death. It's really interesting. But if you don't go with that mindset, and you look at it as, well, it's not causing that much impact, and the fact that you guys are trying to make us maybe move less, maybe make us do certain things. New York introduced at one point, I think it was like 9 months ago, they're talking about suggesting to residents that they eat less meat. The World Economic Forum has been saying that, a few billion people have to eat less meat and how much better it would be. I don't know, man. A lot of this is just... I always say this, right? It seems like a play for control, because you got to know them by their fruits, right? If they're saying, hey, we got to save the planet, and it's like, what do you got to do to save the planet? Well, we need to control what you do and don't do. Well, you know what? At the end of that, the planet will be saved, I guess. But also, we're going to have less and less freedom. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that whole thing. And then some people look at me and be like, oh, you're a climate denier. And it's like, no, I acknowledge that it goes up and down and up and down. But what I don't want to acknowledge is that there is a certain small group of people, Bill Gates included, who feel that in order for this whole thing to be wrangled in, that they have to tighten or restrict us in certain ways. I just can't abide by that. You know what I mean? But Bill Gates, he is the solution. He's 100% the solution. Houses all over the place. God bless him. Hey, I want multiple houses too. Great. Fantastic. Good for you, man. Private jets everywhere. The one place that he loses me is that we all need to fix our lives. And he doesn't. He's fine, because he can pay for these offsets that do God knows what. Who even knows what they do? It's very reminiscent of the law that Canada has, their carbon tax that came in. And as soon as it did, a lot of people are noticing things just going up in price. They're getting hit harder and harder. I think gas went up. I forget how much, but people were saying, I saw on Instagram, people were saying gas went up a considerable amount. Not crazy, but it's like a little bit, a noticeable bit as soon as it came in. And that's kind of going to be what's happening for everybody eventually. It's very interesting, man. But these guys are hypocrites, honestly. Every single person, from Greta to Gates to anyone you see pushing this agenda so hard, because they're not changing their modes of transportation. I'll consider it. I see everyone in Davos rolling up on bicycles, Klaus Schwab and George Soros just on a tandem bike. I'll consider it. I'll be like, okay, these guys are serious. You know what I mean? But when what you have is Greta Thunberg, coming in on a private jet and then running over to some boat and being like, let me get in the boat. Hey guys, I took a boat here. No, you didn't, man. You're not fooling us. You can't fool us forever. Staged arrests, telling us that the planet's going to blow up. And it's always, I have to just say, it's always our fault. You never hear them say, well, it's just, us billionaires, we just do too much, and our factories, and we got to figure out a way for the factories to not have these smokestacks that go into the air 24/7. We got to learn how to shut that down, and a lot of us have to convert to solar power because we have the power to do. You never hear them have these conversations at all. It's never the conversations that they're having. It's always like, how are people going to eat less meat? And how can we get the crickets? Like, can we make a cricket burger already? All right, we got lab-grown meat. That's for you. we got cricket sandwiches. That's for you too. All right, we got no driving on Wednesdays. That's for you as well. We got no gas stoves. That's for you too. It's like, hey man, hey, change at least something in your life before you ask other people to change things in theirs. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying it, especially when you listen to Jordan Peterson. He's had many conversations with different people, varying perspectives, pro climate change, against climate change, all that. When you hear him talk about what's happening in terms of energy in Germany, in the UK, in Canada, US, when you hear him talk about how it affects people in the working and lower class, how dramatically it affects them, how it's pushed so many people into extreme poverty, it's like, I don't know what's going on here. Jordan Peterson calls it Gaia worship because Gaia is supposed to be like the spirit of the earth. They're worshiping Gaia, and what they're willing to do is hand us over as a sacrifice in order to appease this Gaia god, this invisible enemy. And I'm tired of it, man. I'm getting real tired of it. But Bill Gates getting called out. Look at that. I went 17 minutes. Sorry about that, guys. I get into this stuff. I don't like it. Check out that website, by the way. Again, it's not an ad. Check it out because it might be a thing to come. And it's very, very creepy. Very creepy for businesses, for individuals. And they want to make us pay monthly for offsets. I just find that so creepy. And I'm not doing it. I don't know about anybody else. I'm not doing it, man. What are farmers going to do? Are farmers going to have to do that eventually? Well, you have 3,000 cattle and, you're going to have to buy the offsets. And then what happens if that happens? If the businesses also have to start doing it? Who's going to incur that? They're going to have to raise their prices. So what's that going to do? It's going to affect all of us. I don't know, man. Again, this is exactly why I connect it to central bank digital currencies and I connect it to a social credit system. Because eventually, let's just say, this is like a movie that I'm writing here, okay? But eventually, your credits that you have for your offsets will be also linked to your social credit score and also be linked to your money. Because the offsets cost money, those will be one and the same. Your social credit system will dictate how much of those credits that you actually get to move around in the world. And if you don't do well in the social credit score system, it will impact your credits for your offsets and for anything else you need to buy. And that is like the whole thing that will end up happening. Now, of course, this is just a theory. It just rings alarm bells. It just falls into the same line as I look at it, but I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section about all this. There's more than one site of these as well, just so you know. There's a bunch. Look into it. Credit card companies. Start to notice it. Start to look out for it when they tell you, oh, this is how much carbon. Look out for that. Why are they doing that suddenly? If it wasn't going to become something that would be a little more, aggressively pushed, let's say, then why would they be showing it to us? Because what person really cares, right? Who cares? The average person ordering Uber or anything, why would they care? You're getting Postmates. What do you care? How much carbon is being used? You just want the thing. You just want to pay the money and get the thing. That's it. Why would a credit card company need to start showing us that? Why would a flight company start showing us that? What does it matter? Right? Unless they make it matter, because they're creating this whole, Not even going to get into it. Not even going to get into it. We're already at 20 minutes. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this whole thing. And let me know what you think about Bill Gates. Is he being a hypocrite? Do you think he's being a hypocrite with what he does? I think they all are. All of Davos, all of these places where they meet and they discuss how we have to change, they're all hypocrites, and they will not change their lifestyle even a bit. None. They will change nothing. For us, when have you ever seen that? Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Other than that, I'm out.